Welcome to Anson Industries. I'm Jim Casella, president of the company. You probably know us as Anning Johnson Company or ResTech Contractors. We have been in business since 1940, and we have operations in several major cities across the United States. We are a subcontractor. We perform drywall and framing in all of our locations. We also perform metal deck, fireproofing, roofing, plaster, mechanical insulation, and asbestos abatement in select cities. We are a leader in each business we operate in. Our field crews have always played a big part in our company earning and keeping that reputation. Our field operations are dedicated to three key ideas: safety, quality, and performance. Each of our employees plays a role in ensuring that our performance in all three areas is consistent on every job, every day. In this orientation, we will outline our expectations of you as an employee on our job sites, and we will also explore the expectations you should have from the company and your supervisor. Safety. Our driving goal is that every employee goes home safe every day. It is important for you to know, as you begin your work here, that we believe we are different from other contractors when it comes to safety. We do not believe that accidents are simply part of construction. We expect that every one of our employees goes home safe every day. You will learn today about our Go Home Safe program, also known as the Pre-Task Checkoff. We are looking for people who share our commitment to operate safely. And if you are watching this video, you have demonstrated this attitude in your interview. Most injuries occur because of either a lack of attention to the task at hand, insufficient pre-planning, or improper use of tools and methods to accomplish that task. These conditions are entirely within our control. We will provide you with the tools and training to operate efficiently and safely. We will also work hard to set you in an area that has been reviewed for potential hazards. What we expect from you is when you recognize a potential hazard, you communicate that hazard to your supervisor and get the hazard corrected before you begin work. Safety is a true team effort at Anson Industries. Conditions can change quickly on a job site, so your attention to your workspace is needed all day, every day. We do not expect you to take unnecessary chances to get your work done. When we see an employee violating either our policies or those of OSHA, we will address that immediately with the employee. Sometimes there will be a discussion of the issue and what needs to be corrected. You may receive a citation, and more serious violations can lead to termination. Quality. We build our projects right the first time. In addition to safety, we take great pride in being a very professional organization in every way. We are proud of the way we are seen by our customers and others on our job sites. We believe that the way we are seen on our job sites makes a big impact when our customers are making decisions as to who will get the next job. Doing our job right the first time demonstrates that you care about the work you produce, and it is one of the things that our customers make note of. Performance. We complete our projects on time and on budget. Finishing the job on time with minimum disruptions also shows our customers that we know how to plan and execute our work. Your ability to complete your work in a safe and productive manner helps us maintain our reputation in the industry. Always remember, every job is different and conditions can change rapidly. So awareness of the immediate area around you and your constant learning about the tools and methods needed in your line of work is critical to your safety. Anytime you are uncertain of any part of your work, we expect you to ask your supervisor for clarification before you engage in a task. We look forward to a safe and productive relationship. And once again, welcome to Anson.
At the start of your day, the foreman will start the day with the morning huddle. The huddle will focus on the safety and performance goals of the day. The huddle will include a short warm-up to increase the blood flow and prepare your muscles for work and reduce the risk of injury. The Go Home Safe program was developed to get everybody focused on safety. The pre-task checkoff list is a list of questions you review before you perform each task. If you discover a problem with the task, work areas, tools, or equipment, you should talk to your foreman. The pre-task checkoff will create a habit that we hope will identify hazards, prevent an accident, and keep everyone going home safe every day. Your foreman will provide guidance on how to review and implement the checklist. Your foreman will review a document with you, including the task you will be performing, the potential risks, and what equipment and safe work procedures you will employ. If you are injured, report it to your foreman immediately, even if you're not sure if medical treatment is necessary. You will be required to assist in completing an accident report. This will help us identify the cause and how we can avoid future injuries. If your injury does not allow you to return to regular duty, we will make every effort to bring you back to work through restricted duty. Our goal is to make sure all our workers receive the treatment they need and return them back to work. Anson's core values represent who we are and provide the standard of behavior by which we conduct business. The following items are the example of professionalism we expect from all employees. It's our level of professionalism that sets us apart from the rest of the industry. A professional is someone who lives up to the full potential of his or her capability and job title, no matter their level of education or the industry in which they work. A professional conforms to the standards of skill, competence, or character normally expected of a properly qualified and experienced person in a work environment. Code of conduct when working with customers. Treat our customers with respect at all times. Remain positive under all circumstances. Be candid and honest in communication and conduct. Follow through on all commitments. Be prompt and responsive in business dealings. When working with your coworkers, ensure that safety is a top priority and the focus of the entire team. Ensure that the team treats one another with dignity and respect, regardless of position, time with the company, or level of experience. Ensure that the team maintains a positive attitude, appearance, and demeanor. With everyone, refrain from vulgar language or behavior. Respect the dignity, rights, safety, and personal property of others. No radios, headphones, earbuds, or any other music device. Personal phone calls during breaks and lunch only. Turn phones off during work hours. Dress code. Company hard hats with the company logo are required for all employees. Only company-provided stickers and union logos may be applied to our hard hats, including safety certifications, first aid, and job site required. Shirts. Either long-sleeve, short-sleeve shirts and T-shirts are allowed. Blank shirts only. No logos except approved company logos are permitted. Must be in good condition, free of holes, tears, and so forth. Pants. Full length and size appropriate. No shorts. Pants should be free of holes, tears, rips, and so forth. No baggy pants or pants that hang down below the waistline. No loose jewelry. Work boots must be in good condition and free of defects. Anson Industries provides equal employment opportunities to all employees and applicants for employment without regard to race, color, religion, national origin, sex, age, disability, genetic information, and other characteristics protected by applicable law. In addition to federal law requirements, Anson Industries complies with applicable state and local laws governing non-discrimination in employment. This policy applies to all terms and conditions of employment, including recruiting, hiring, placement, promotion, termination, layoff, recall, transfer, leaves of absence, compensation, and training. Anson Industries expressly prohibits any form of workplace harassment, discrimination, or retaliation, or bullying based on race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, national origin, age, genetic information, disability, veteran status, and any other classifications protected by applicable law. Any questions or concerns should be communicated to your immediate supervisor or Human Resources Department immediately. We have created this video so you can become familiar with our safety policies and become familiar with the hazards on our job sites. We want you to be able to recognize and avoid unsafe conditions. We encourage you to notify your foreman of any unsafe conditions you may encounter, even if it does not pertain to our work, since it may help prevent an injury. The company's goal is to provide a safe working environment for all employees. Accordingly, we do not allow the use of alcohol or illegal drugs on our job sites. We understand that many states have instituted laws that have made marijuana legal. If you report to work under the influence or impaired by marijuana, you will be subject to discipline up to and including termination of employment in accordance with the company's alcohol and drug-free workplace policy and the terms of any collective bargaining agreement applicable to your employment. Personal protective equipment. It is our duty as your employer to provide you with the necessary equipment to work safely. We will provide all appropriate equipment except proper clothing or boots. The following are the types of equipment you will be required to use on our job sites. Hard hats provide protection from falling objects or protect you in case of a fall. Hard hats must be worn at all times. Safety glasses are required at all times. They can prevent flash burn or objects from getting into your eyes. Safety glasses must be worn at all times. If you wear prescription glasses, they must be ANSI Z87 certified with side shields. When using a chop saw, a face shield is also required. A face shield or goggles may be required when performing overhead work. Cleaning wipes will be provided on the job site so they can be kept clean. As of 2008, we have made hearing protection required at all times. The OSHA standard requires protection when employees are exposed to an average of 85 decibels over an 8-hour time period. We find that using our tools or the surrounding noise from our trades puts us over the average more often than not. Hearing protection can help prevent hearing loss, which can develop over a long period of time when consistently exposed to loud noise. When putting them in, make sure your hands and earplugs are clean. If you need a different type of protection, ask your foreman. Gloves must be worn at all times. Fingerless gloves are not acceptable. We went to 100% protection because we found that using gloves has reduced the number of injuries dramatically. The task you are performing will determine the type and cut level rating of your glove. Cut-resistant sleeves are also required for some tasks. This will be determined by your foreman during pre-task activities. Full-body harness and lifelines, including self-retracting devices, must be worn when you are exposed to a potential fall hazard on the perimeter of a structure, on a roof, near openings in the floor, or working on a platform that is 6 feet or higher. This equipment must be inspected prior to each use for frays or tears. Respirators may be required depending on your trade. Any filtering facepiece worn with 2 straps is considered a respirator. Training and a physician's written opinion is required before use of a respirator. Nuisance or dust masks are not considered respirators but are suggested for taping and fireproofing activities. Consult with your foreman on the appropriate equipment for these operations. We have determined through extensive testing that in most cases, a single-strap nuisance mask is appropriate. Fall protection. When you are working 6 feet above the ground, you must be protected by some type of fall protection. Some of the hazards of working above ground are unprotected sides and edges, openings in floors, leading edges, hoist areas, roofing work. If these hazards are present, your foreman will provide training on all fall protection and rescue plans that will be used on the job site. The following are examples of fall protection. Guardrails. Guardrails must have a top rail at 42 inches plus or minus 3 inches and can withstand a 200-pound load with a mid-rail at 21 inches, which can withstand a 150-pound load. Personal fall arrest systems are designed to support your weight during a fall so you do not make contact with the level below. It is made up of a 5-point harness, a lanyard or other deceleration device, and connected to an anchor point that can withstand 5,000 pounds per employee. The self-retracting lifeline or other device must be attached to a D-ring positioned on the back of your harness between the shoulders. Do not anchor to guardrails, railings, scaffolds, ductwork, or anything else you are not sure of. The fall protection plan will address any potential hazards and dictate what equipment will be used and how to use it. All anchorage points must be able to support at 5,000 pounds minimum. A legal warning line can be used around roof edges and leading edges to warn others of a potential hazard. Warning lines at least 6 feet back from the edge, but no more than 25 feet from the edge. Fall arrest equipment must be used when working beyond the warning lines. Other types of fall protection can be used, such as barricades. A controlled access zone can be used in leading edge work, which gives accessibility to only those employees who are performing work. Warning lines and signs must be posted. All holes 2 inches in diameter or larger must be covered and marked. The cover must be secured and can support 2 times the maximum intended load. Improperly covered openings can result in serious injury and even death. To protect you and others from falling objects, tow boards, tool lanyards, or canopies can be used. Ladders. Proper ladder selection, inspection, and use can prevent falls and injuries. Use a ladder, not a bucket or box, to reach heights. When selecting a ladder, make sure it is tall enough to reach the height needed and can hold 4 times the weight of you and your equipment. Metal ladders must never be used. Aluminum walk-ups are allowed for some activities. Inspect every ladder before using it. A ladder should have no missing parts, no splitters, sharp edges, dents, or bent parts, tight support braces, bolts, screws, and spreaders, slip-resistant steps, rungs, or cleats, free from wet, grease, or oil. The base should have safety feet or some form of non-skid anchorage. All labeling must be in good condition and readable. If any defective parts are found, do not try to fix it yourself. Tag and remove it from service so others do not use it. Let your supervisor know that you have removed the ladder from service. Place the ladder on a firm level surface and position the feet to prevent displacement of the ladder base. If the ground is soft or broken, place the ladder on wide boards or plywood. Extend the ladder at least 3 feet above the top landing surface and anchor the top. Do not rest it on a window or door. Unless protected by a barricade or warning line, do not place ladders in passageways or doorways where other work is being conducted. When climbing, face the ladder and hold onto the rungs of the ladder as you climb the ladder. Always maintain 3 points of contact on the ladder as you climb. Carry tools on a belt, rope, or hoist. Allow only 1 person at a time on the ladder. Do not stand on the top 2 steps or move the ladder while you're on it. When carrying ladders, balance the center on your shoulder, keep the front end above your head and the back near the ground. If it's too heavy, get help. Store ladders standing up in dry, ventilated areas. Stilt use is allowed in all of our offices except for California. They are a tool that can help you be more productive, but can be very dangerous when misused and potential hazards are not removed from the work area. They take the place of a ladder or a bench. Ceiling men, tapers, metal stud framers can all use this tool. Here are some safety rules for stilts. Review the stilt checklist every day before you use stilts. Check your stilts for damage before you get them on. If you do find damaged parts, change them immediately or replace the stilts. During your pre-task activities, survey the area you're going to work in and look for any type of hazard. Also check above for any type of safety hazard, including electrical or obstruction hazards. Cover any floor openings and especially look out for trip hazards such as loose wires, rope, short pieces of conduit, screws, and electrical cords. Always fasten the top strap first when putting on your stilts to help keep your legs in them properly. It is recommended that warning lines and signs are posted in your work area to warn others and keep non-essential personnel out of your work area. Never walk up or down stairs. Take your stilts off. Always walk on a level surface. Look where you're walking at all times. Do not try to walk in the dirt or walk through water puddles. Ask for help if you drop something on the floor. Never hurry when walking. Take short, distinct steps. Keep your stilts adjusted to the way you walk. Make them as comfortable as possible. Pre-plan and take corrective action if needed, and you will have a safe and productive day while wearing your stilts. Prior to using any tool, ensure that the factory-installed guard is in place and secure. This includes grinders and chop saws. Never disable a guard by using screws or wedges to hold the guard open. This can result in severe injuries. Scaffolds. The most common causes of injuries on scaffolds are planks or supports giving way, employees slipping or tripping on the scaffold, being struck by falling objects. A scaffold is a temporary elevated platform, supported or suspended, and supporting structure, including points of anchorage, used for supporting employees and materials. A competent person, usually your foreman, is responsible for daily inspections, having knowledge of fall protection, erecting and dismantling scaffolds, and the recognition of hazards and unsafe conditions of scaffolds. Any scaffold user or erector must have training and present a card or certification upon request. They are also responsible for training all of those who use the scaffold. You need to be aware of some basic information when you're working on a scaffold to assist you in recognizing hazards to prevent injury. A scaffold and its components must be capable of supporting its own weight and at least 4 times the maximum intended load. Scaffolds must be erected on firm ground. Each platform must be fully planked and decked between the front uprights and the guardrails. Guardrails should be installed along all open sides and ends of platforms. The top rail should be 42 inches with a mid-rail at 21 inches. If guardrails are not available or appropriate, personal fall arrest systems must be used. Your foreman will determine what fall protection will be used and a fall protection plan will be completed. Do not attach to the scaffold unless there are manufactured anchorage points designed. When the platform is more than 2 feet above or below a point of access, a ladder, walkway, or direct access from another surface must be provided. Do not climb the cross braces or any scaffold component. Scissor lifts and boom lifts, otherwise known as mobile elevated work platforms. To operate any aerial type of equipment, you must first have training and documentation to prove your knowledge on the use of that particular piece of equipment, and present proof of your training upon request. No exceptions. Here are some common responsibilities and safe practices. You must perform a documented inspection on the equipment every day for defects. Before using the equipment, make sure the deadman switch works. It must be activated when the equipment is not in use. Look for unsafe conditions such as drop-offs, holes, slopes, bumps, debris, overhead obstructions, and wind and weather conditions. Get rid of or adjust to these hazards before use. Prior to each elevation of the platform, guardrails are installed, gates closed, and the load on the platform is evenly distributed. A harness restraint lanyard or self-retracting lifeline must be available. They need to be worn if the general contractor requires it when in a basket extended by a boom or when you're leaning or reaching beyond the safety rails of the lift. Your feet must always be positioned firmly on the work surface of the elevated platform. Never climb onto the rails or toe boards to extend your reach. The anchorage point must be engineered or approved by a qualified person. Remember, do not climb on guardrails or use any other types of devices to reach heights from platforms such as ladders. Do not continue use if there's a malfunction. Do not travel while the lift is up, unless approved by the manufacturer and your foreman. Do not position any platform against any object to steady the platform. Do not operate equipment near electrical power lines. Do not alter or disable any safety devices. Do not let any other company use the equipment. An Anning Johnson or Restec Employees Only sticker or sign must be posted on the elevated platform at all times. If the platform gets caught and reverse does not free it, all personnel should be removed from the platform before any further attempts are made. Be familiar with the ground controls on the unit to perform this action if needed. Notify your foreman of any problems with the equipment immediately. Again, if you have not been trained in the use of the equipment, do not operate it. Housekeeping. One of the most unrecognized hazards is material, water, and trash on the job site. The pre-task checkoff specifically asks you to review your area before performing work. If there is a housekeeping issue, notify your supervisor and ensure the hazard is removed prior to starting your task. At all times, your work area should be kept clean, especially passageways, stairs, and aisles. People may not be watching where they're walking or carrying something that prevents them from seeing what is ahead. This may cause them to trip and fall or twist an ankle. These are called slip-trip hazards. They are responsible for most accidents and injuries on the job site. Here are some helpful tips to prevent you and others from getting injured. Trash and debris or scrap materials should be kept in one designated space, organized out of the way of any work being performed, and then removed daily. All trash should be placed in receptacles and removed. We reinforce the nothing hits the floor safe work practice, where trash and debris is immediately placed in a cart or bin. This prevents the worker from having to perform additional tasks, such as bending to pick up debris off the work surface and exposing them to potential strains and sprains. Do not overload debris carts or containers. Hammer all loose nails so they're even with the material. Move electrical cords out of the way to prevent trips and falls. If material, floor, or equipment is wet, dry items off before use to prevent slipping. If you're starting work in an area after another trade is finished, do not let their trash sit there. Speak to them or the general contractor so it is removed and not causing a hazard. Do not throw material off a roof or elevated floor. A clean job not only makes a job safe, but productive. Our customers will also appreciate it. Electrical safety. Careless use of electricity causes 10% of job-related deaths, as well as many serious injuries. Workers need to protect themselves when working around live wires and parts. If you find any temporary or permanent electrical panels with exposed wires, do not work in the area and notify your foreman immediately. The ultimate electric shock is electrocution, and it doesn't take much electrical power to kill you. It can also cause you to fall and be injured, cause loss of muscle control and coordination, internal bleeding, and damage to nerves. To use electricity safely, you must be able to identify its most common hazards. Most occur in everyday work. Electrical repair must be performed by skilled, qualified people. So if you spot one of these hazards, don't touch anything. Report it immediately so repairs can be made. Here are the hazards to watch out for. Loose electrical connections. Missing ground prongs. Cords with no insulation or frayed insulation. Plugs that don't match their outlets, like a 3-pronged plug and a 2-pronged or household outlet. Equipment running over capacity. Tools that smoke, smell, spark, or shock. Electrical cords left near heat or water. Wearing jewelry like watches or rings. Workers and the objects they hold must stay at least 10 feet from an energized power line. Vehicles usually have to stay at least 10 feet from the lines also, unless insulated barriers or similar protections will prevent contact. If there's an accident, don't touch a shock victim. Call for professional medical help, and if you can do it safely, turn off the power that's giving the shock. Use something that will not conduct electricity to push the person away from the wire or equipment that caused the shock, such as a 2x4 or broom handle. Hazardous chemicals on the job site. Many different chemicals are found within the materials we use on a job site. Knowledge of chemical hazards in the workplace is essential to your safety. So how can you tell if a chemical is hazardous? The Globally Harmonized System, GHS, provides a single common approach to classify hazardous chemicals through the container labels and safety data sheets. Read the label. The manufacturer will label all materials we use that have 6 elements. 1. Identify the product and its ingredients. 2. Pictograms are a black symbol with a white background surrounded by a red diamond-shaped border. Each pictogram has a specific meaning to convey physical, health, or environmental hazard information for a chemical's hazard class and category. 3. Signal word use to indicate the relative hazard, either danger or warning. 4. Hazard statement that describes the nature of the degree of hazard. 5. A precautionary statement that recommends measures to be taken to prevent adverse effects from exposure, storage, or handling of the product. 6. The name, address, and telephone number of the chemical manufacturer, importer, or supplier. The other way to find out about chemical hazards is by a Safety Data Sheet, or SDS. The sheet has 16 sections that provide hazard assessment. Safety data sheets are kept either in a binder or can be accessed online through the Sitehawk website. Your foreman will provide this information. This gives you the ability to review them at any time. Once you understand the relative hazards of chemicals you work with, it's very important that you follow directions given and wear protective equipment if required. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the products you are using or exposed to, contact your supervisor. We can also be exposed to chemicals by other contractors on the job site. We are to be notified of these hazards, but we cannot rely on being informed by others. A good rule of thumb to follow is, if your eyes or lungs become irritated, the atmosphere is too strong to work. If this occurs, get out of the area and tell your foreman so appropriate action can be taken. Backs and lifting. Thousands of at-home and at-work injuries are related to improper body movement. These are known as musculoskeletal injuries. They can be costly and result in loss of work. Your back takes part in almost every move you make. That makes them more prone to injury. Most back injuries come from a combination of problems including lifting materials that are too heavy, lifting material from or to an awkward location, working for long periods in a bent-over position, wearing tool belts that are too heavy, no stretching or warming up before doing physical labor, weak back and abdominal muscles, excess weight, poor physical conditioning and flexibility, poor sitting and standing posture. We have a warm-up program where your foreman leads a stretch for the first 5 minutes of the day. We also encourage you to stretch after repetitive work or your break or lunchtime. Before you lift, first determine the weight of the item to see if you can safely lift and carry it. If in doubt, use a dolly, hand truck, forklift, or ask for help. Watch for tripping hazards along your travel path. When you lift, stand close to the load with your feet shoulder-width apart. Bend your knees and keep your back straight. Grip the load firmly and bring it close to your body. Push up slowly with your legs, not your back. Carry the load waist-high and do not twist. When reaching overhead, use a ladder to bring the load closer to you so you don't have to reach above your shoulders, and follow the other lifting techniques. Healthy habits including staying in shape, hydrating by drinking adequate amounts of water, and eating healthy also plays a part in your well-being. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle will enable you to lengthen your career and provide for your family. Heat illness can be experienced when you're exposed to high heat conditions, have certain medical conditions, or if you are not acclimated to your environment or task. Extreme cases of heat illness can result in serious injury and even death. Heat illness prevention must be taken seriously. You will be educated on the amount of water you need to consume during your workday, where the water is stored, and the signs and symptoms of heat illness, and first aid measures. This is the end of your initial training. We expect you to follow the safe practices reviewed, and we encourage you to identify any hazards so that we can provide a safe working environment. You have the authority to stop work if hazards are present until they have been addressed and abated. Notify your supervisor immediately if you are stopping work. This is only an introduction. Every tool and task has more specific training. Knowledge is important for you to have to keep you safe. Working together, employees and management can create a safe working environment. Again, welcome to Anson Industries.